Toot 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 toot. Toot 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 toot. Oh, hello. I am Toot Toot the Loxodon Bard, and as we are preparing the spell components for Modify Memory, so that we can make our theme song proper always in your head at all times, they asked me to come out on the stage and prepare a little thaumaturgy to give you a replacement theme song until then. So, here we go. D and me, D and me. Is this show? I don't know the rest of the words. Hey, what was that? Tipsy, get off the table.
No.
How much have you had to drink?
Not enough.
Onyx, could you please help me? Get off the table. No, Tipsy, come back. I am sorry about that. But please enjoy the show. Tipsy, I swear to the gods, come back here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Victor Rivera, and this is D&Me, where I play with myself. I play D&D with myself. And welcome. Y'all, normally, oh, goody. Hi, Mommy and Poppy already. Normally, for these episodes, I am nervous right about to stream because of the countdown and stuff. This week, I'm nervous because the cliffhanger of last week, that is boy, that's gonna be a lot. But let's get into our D&M pre-show. I have my mom and my dad talking right now, but for this episode, I want to do a challenge for us right before we start. So in this D&M pre-show, I imagine we can knock it out of the park, where we will have 5 people contributing in the chat box at the same time. So I don't know if it's like within a certain amount of time. I'm sure it is, because I've had 5 people like talk over the average of a stream, but today we're going to see, that's 3. We need just 2 more. Great. Thank you. And so this will unlock new VIP badges and stuff I will figure out and tinker with when I do more time for a Twitch affiliate. But anyways, I have a lot of stuff to get through for a D&M pre-show today. So first and foremost, something fun. This past Saturday, I did my first D&D adventure in person with the group that I've DM'd since November of last year. So 10 months our group has been going on, and I wanted to show you the monster that I made. It is this heck of a thing. So this is a mimic that they encountered in a field, and it has a bunch of skeletons that I put wiring on it, and then as soon as they figured out the logic puzzle, which took them an hour, but it was a very hard logic puzzle, and some of it, wasn't perfect or whatever. But then all the skeletons kind of like clack, 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 clack combined, and then made this mimic skeletal spider dude, and they handily defeated it. But I love him. And I can't really figure out a name. I have skeletal spider in head, or like a skeletal spider, or a skeletal mimic. But if you have a good idea, let me know. I want some like official D&D art with this. That'll be cool. So I will put that aside because it's very big, and it's will take up too much room on my desk. All right, that will creep me out because I just put it on my bedside nightstand. If I forget to move it, then I will wake up and be real scared. So that's fun stuff, new stuff. Today and yesterday I posted in the D&Medias about a couple new things. One, I posted about Toot Toot's ongoing Spotify playlist, where I was originally cataloging every song that Toot Toot parodies or references, but I decided to extend it out to all the characters, and then like when I drop hot beats. So if someone who has plenty of time, if you can go back and like see if I have all of the songs. I'm missing a couple, but like for the most part. So you can look at Toot Toot's ongoing Spotify playlist, which is very like Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist, which is a movie title. But where can you find the link to this Toot Toot's ongoing Spotify playlist, thank you for asking. You can find it on the new link tree. So there is, D&Me now has one link where you click on it, and then you can see all the links for all the other stuff that we got going on. So it's linkter.ee/DnMeAdventures with the N like gnome. So again, that's, if you've encountered a link tree before, it's like one link and you click on it and then it lists all the other ones. So if you look at link tree, but there's a period right before the E's, so linktr.ee/DnMeAdventures. So you can check that out. You can check out the Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then the Redbubble store that I have the D&Me logo, and then a design that I designed for my Mexican grandmother, and then Toot Toot's ongoing Spotify playlist. And yeah, so I'll add more stuff when we get there. Yay! So within 5 minutes, we have 4 people talking. That's great. We need just one more, and then I don't know when. Y'all just keep talking for a little bit. And then here's some more news. This one I read on Twitter, and then I verified a little bit with reading some more articles. But I read that D&D will come out with a new evolution of Dungeons & Dragons come 2024. Now, people are saying this might be a new edition. There has not been confirmation about that. But it's a little scary because this is the first time since I've been playing that it could dramatically change stuff. So that's exciting, and I'll keep y'all updated because this is now my business. So we will find out. And they said, I did look it up, and they said that it will be completely compatible with 5th edition. So we'll see if that's like 5.5 edition. They're going to put it out in 2024 to match up with the 50th anniversary of D&D, which that is cool. But I'm a little bit nervous. But then I did step back and think, okay, we wouldn't have 5th edition D&D that we are enjoying right now if we didn't have 1st edition, then Advanced, then 3rd edition, 3.5 edition, 4th edition, which we don't talk about. So change. Ooh, it's a scary thing. So that is the news. That's some fun stuff. Now for D&D dedication, or D&D to people who worked on Waterdeep Dragon Heist. 2 episodes ago, because I didn't do it last time because I was in North Carolina, I didn't have all my notes, but 2 episodes ago, I thanked interior designers Julian Koch and Christopher Moeller, and then today I have 2 more people I'd like to thank for the D&D staff. One, a producer, Stan ! That's part of his name, Stan ! Liked 3 of my tweets, responded and retweeted, so thank you, Stan! Which sounded like I was already excited, but I wanted to emphasize the exclamation point. Oh boy, that's a lot of people talking in the thing. So let's see. Speed of Lightning, Kevrick, Tipsy #1 fan, Spruce, and then my mom. So that might be a 5, but we'll just, I'll read these in a bit, but like, this is great. Thank you very much for your support, everybody. Y'all rock. Boy, howdy. Sorry, Stan. So Stan, producer, thank you. And then this is really cool. Interior cartographer Dyson Logos liked 2 of my tweets and responded. Dyson Logos. This is neat. So anytime you see like a map, like with the little squares and all the stuff in any of these books, and like in the past couple decades of D&D, Dyson Logos did it. So I tweeted at him, and then when I was doing some research and tweeting at him, then when I tweeted at him, he was on his Twitch doing some digital, he goes through and like redoes some of the maps. So when I reached out, then he was doing one of those, and I was like, hey, I'm doing a Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and he was like, I am doing Xanathar's Hideout right now, like the Xanathar's lair. That is humongous. That's universal alignment, synchronicity, and coincidence all together, because that's one of the chapters in my book. So the fact that he was redoing that, that's great. So you can find Stan at Stanex. So on Twitter, it's Stan, N-E-X, Stanex. And then Dyson Logos, you can find him on all his D&Medias at Dyson Logos. That's Dyson with a Y, so Dysonlogos. And you can find him on twitch.tv/Dyson Logos. And I am tweeting him right now to tell him, hey, I'm thanking you on my Twitch because we had a Twitch interaction. So let's see. Dyson Logos, I literally just right now gave you a thanks shout out on my Twitch for you liking my tweets and responding the other week. Swing by tonight if you get a chance. Smiley face, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, episode 9. And then I put the link, and then we're in the Xanathar Guild Hideout in the sewers, not his lair, which you were working on when I watched your Twitch. We are in Q7 now, because when you look at the map, then it has little... the little rooms are labeled. So we're in Q7 now. Gonna explore Q8 through 11 here after this near detrimental emphasis on mental battle with an intellect devourer. And then some hashtags. Tweet all. Whoop. Yay, magic. I have 8 notifications on Twitter. Y'all, D&Me's blowing up. And speaking of which, this is episode 9. Next week is an anniversary. 10 weeks of doing D&D, D&Me. Creating my own content. Thank you all so much for your support. This is great. Now it's just my sister and Peter going at it in a... Well, okay, hold on. No, bad. I'm editing that out immediately. My sister and then my my friend, one of my best friends in the chat. Just talk. Okay, so I think we did it. I'm going to minimize the chat, though, because it is very distracting for my brain. So, there we go. Thank you, Stan and Dyson. I'm so sorry. That took 11 minutes. Let's see. So, then I'm going to turn this down a little bit because, well, actually, I can turn down the volume so that it's not as loud in my ears. Now it's the revision part. So, a little bit of D&D research after the fact. Not really research, but last week I recorded episode 8 in my room and it had a really cool background. This is all funky right now. I don't know what's going on, but that's fine. I recorded it in my room, episode 8, and then the next day, me and my mom and my dad watched it all together as a family, so that was really cool, because normally they watch it live, like right now, but... because of the internet stuff, we just wanted to play it safe. And a really cool thing, my dad, when we went in the sewers, and then we came into a room with 2 human bandits, my dad was like, oh, so there must be light or something, or because human bandits have dark vision, right? He caught a detail that I didn't catch until like 7 minutes later. And that would have saved me a little bit of heartache, but I was impressed, so... Good job, Poppy. I wanted to give you that shout out for, like, he's paying attention. And I know I'm juggling, like, 58 things in my head at a given time, but that was really cool to see, like, the little details. So, and then I gave them all torches and everything was fine. But, this was something I was struggling with because I said something happened and then I was second guessing myself this whole past week. So, when we entered in to Q7, we saw a half-orc apprentice wizard standing over the body of Floon Blagmar, that's still alive, but he's blinking red, and he has fire in his hands, and Tipsy took him out with 18 points of acid damage from his chromatic orb, and then he fell, and I said he was dead. And then, like, 45 minutes later, I was like, oh, crap, he's a half-orc, so... He might have... Well, he has relentless endurance, so if you're taken down to 0 hit points, then you bounce back to just 1 hit point. You get one of those per long rest. I know that because Rock spent his one a couple episodes ago, and then he's been downed twice. So I was like, nuts. But then I read some more about it. Relentless endurance only happens if you're not killed immediately. So the fact that Tipsy had just enough damage where this 9 hit point half-orc apprentice wizard went down to his hit point maximum in the negatives. If it was 1 point less, then I would have had this D&R vision, but we threaded the needle on that one, which is a really cool feeling sometimes. But then a D&R vision. So Rock turned Rainier invisible, and then I said that Rainier lost his invisibility because eventually Rock lost consciousness for the 3rd time. But actually, Rainier would have lost his invisibility when he made an opportunity attack swipe at the Mind Flayer that went by. So he would have had it a little less time, but, like, I was listening back to that and I was like, nuts. But it's all okay. It's all happening in bullet time, slow-mo bullet time. So we can do whatever we want. Y'all are so sweet. And then the last little bit of D and pregame. I just wanted to say this before we get too many more episodes in. Part of the wizard class, so Rock, my half-orc wizard, he has a list of spells that he has. And the way you play a wizard is that every day, and a cleric and a druid also have this magical mechanic, where at the beginning of every day after a long rest, then you have only a certain amount of spell slots, but you have to choose from your very big list what spells you have prepared. I am not playing that rule for D&Me because it would be so much of me trying to pick out certain spells, and I forget half of what everyone has anyways. So I think it all balances out. I think it's a great detail, a great magical minutia if you're playing a wizard class, but the fact that I'm playing 4 classes and then NPCs and then monsters and villains, then I am giving myself grace and permission to not adhere to that, which could be argued a little OP, but again, I forget people have stuff, including magic and stuff. So just wanted to let you all know that I know wizards have prepared spells, but I ain't gonna do it. So that's one of the new evolution rules for D&D 5.5. Oh, so they're releasing it. I think I might have said this already, but they're releasing a new evolution of D&D that is completely compatible with 5th edition on 2024, which is their 50th anniversary, when they released the first publication in 1974. So that's so cool. Good job, team. We did it. Now, D&D recap. Any questions before we begin? I think we did the 5 people talking in the same bit thing, but I don't know. I didn't look into it too much, but y'all are so sweet. Thank you. All right. Will you get a notification? I don't know. I'll look at this tomorrow and see if we did it. But we talked a lot, and it might be like within. I'll start soon because I have a lot to do. Either it's like within a minute time frame, or maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know. And this will be like easily achievable on episode 20 when a lot of people will be talking because I'll have a lot more viewers and stuff. But I wanted to. Yeah, I think. All right. I'll say that we did it. So thank you all very much. I will post official notification tomorrow. All right. So, D and recap. In episode 7, which is called Crappy Encounters. Is that right? I think so. We went into the sewers underneath Waterdeep in order to rescue Floon Blagmar, a human. And we met with a gazer. which is like a half beholder, and then we had a really great interaction with some were-rats. And then in episode 8, Stone Halls and Close Calls, we woke up some goblins, archers, that shot at my boys, and then we went through some stone rooms in this Xanathar Guild hideout deep underneath the sewers. We came across 2 familiar human bandits that were in the first episode, and one of them escaped with Kresnek, and then the other one got his ass handed to him. And then we went into this other room because my boys accidentally kind of befriended them. And then we went into Q7, where we found Floon, but he was underneath the half-orc apprentice wizard, who was torturing him. And as battles ensued... I'm going to turn this down a little bit because it's very loud. Even still. All right. Let's see that. When we went into Q7, we saw the half-orc, and we saw a mind flayer sitting in a stone throne in the back of the room with a brain with legs in his lap. And as battle commenced, then one of the human bandits got toe up from the flow up, and Rainier Tipsy took out the half-orc apprentice wizard with a very good chromatic orb, and Rainier kind of went into a fit over his friend and couldn't kill the half-orc, so he decided to go up against the Mind Flayer, which, if any D&D people know, is a very bad idea for such low-level people. So this Mind Flayer, Brock realized what danger Rainier was in and went over and cast invisibility on Rainier's calf, which then made him fully disappear, made Rainier disappear. And then the Mind Flayer deposited the brain with legs in front of him, and then he skedaddled out, left to some double doors, and proceeded to go do stuff. But now they are facing an intellect devourer, and in arguably the scariest role I've had in D&Me so far, Rock, seemingly alone, except then Rainier would have popped back in the thing because of the D&M revision. But Rock was facing this intellect devourer, which is a brain with little lion cub paws, and the brain took a swipe at Rock, which knocked him out HP-wise, and then proceeded to devour intellect. Yeah, devour intellect, which then is real bad. If you have an intellect, you have to do an intelligence saving throw, and then if it's 12 or above, you're okay, but if you fail, then your intellect goes down to 0, which is also very, very, very bad, especially because Rock is my intelligence wizard. So that was terrifying. He saved with a 10 plus 5, so that's amazing, a 15 above the 12. And we resume after Rainier kicked the intellect devourer, this sourdough loaf bread bowl, over the stone throne and told the room that that's bad news and we have to take care of it right now. So, resuming in the initiative order, Rainier just kicked, so Toot Toot is up next. And Toot Toot's in the other end of the room in front of the human bandit with a bandage underneath his jaw and tied up like as if you had an old-timey toothache, because this human bandit had his teeth knocked out by Yagra Stonefist, and then he was gorged by Toot Toot in the last episode, but the human bandit went down on his knees and made the gesture of I don't want to fight anymore. So Toot Toot is at the other end of the room, and then he walks forward after hearing Rainier. Like, he turns around and then walks towards the middle of the room, and Rainier is pointing towards behind the stone throne, and Toot Toot looks because he was focused on the human bandits, but he took a survey of the room when they first entered and saw the vignette meeting them. So in his mind, either the mind flare or the intellect of hours back there. So Toot Toot will yell across the room saying, I'm losing my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again. I'll try and kill you. Do. And then he will cast. Oh, do. Yes, that's good. He will cast Dissonant Whispers. And here's the thing, y'all. Toot Toot has no more level 1 spell slots. He has 1 out of 2 level 2 spell slots, so he will be forced to cast this dry erase marker at level 2 Dissonant Whispers. And this song drifts across. It has to be within 60 feet. Doesn't have to see him, because I checked. Victor came in with a game plan this time, because the past hour before we were recording, then I was reading a whole bunch to see how I could pull this out of my butt. So, Dissonant Whispers. It needs to make a wisdom saving throw. And it has plus 0 to wisdom, so that's good. That's a 5! Great. The Intellect of Hour, who is somewhere behind the stone throne. Yes. Rolled a 5 plus a 0 for his wisdom saving throw. So what does that mean, Victor? That means he takes 4d6 psychic damage, which is ironic. Yum. So. That is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 psychic damage altogether, which isn't amazing. Oh, and then I need to roll one more. Sorry. Plus 6! Yay. Thank you, narrative. You're welcome, Victor. Huh? So, the Intellect of Hour. Now there's a dog outside. Sirens and dogs. That's obnoxious. Oh, well. So the Intellect of Hour had 19 hit points, and then I decided that Rainier kicking it would be some kick points against his hit points. But the Intellect of Hour, my boys don't know this yet, but my Intellect of Hour, not my Intellect of Hour, but our Intellect of Hour, damage resistances against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. So, what is a damage resistance? A damage resistance is if you have... Let's say we have a water elemental, so just a water bad guy. And then you try and throw fire on it. Well, that fire's not going to do a whole lot because of damage type. And that harkens back to Pokemon stuff. So, imagine if you throw a fire at the water, then the game mechanics-wise is that the fire will do half damage. Well, actually, water elementals and fire, that might be damage immunity. But damage resistance is you take half of the damage that was actually fully dealt, and then damage immunity or condition immunities, then it doesn't affect it. And condition immunities, for example, my Intellect Devourer with no eyes cannot be blinded because it has no eyes. So, just breaking it down a little bit. So, damage resistance to bludgeoning from non-magical attacks, which is a kick. So, even though I rolled a 5 on that 1d6, then it's only 2. So, 19 and then the 2 kick damage, and then now 12 psychic damage, which is great. Whew, boy. So it has 5 hit points left. You can hear from behind the stone throne just like a claws against stone floor, like chaotic, sporadic as if it's maybe falling over itself or something. And then now and then Toot Toot will use whatever movement it takes to like go up against the left side of this rectangle. So it looks down. The stone throne isn't flush up against the wall. It's kind of on its own island in the back of the room. So Toot Toot looks down the left side of the room to see if it'll like skitter out to the left. But it can't. But Toot Toot can't see the intellect devour right now. Rock, who is in front of the stone throne with he's on the ground, and then Tipsy and Rainier are right there. He just had Tipsy come up and use a health potion to boister him back from the brink of darkness, and with 6 hit points. So Rock will stand up using half his movement, and he will go, I will do this from now on. I will do this more. And then he like hits his hand on his chest, and then as he opens his hand, then like this, what color magic purple? Okay. So I was going to say, what color magic does Rock have? But then I automatically answered. So this like burst of purple energy like goes across his saddle that he has, and then kind of bands of it go around his back, so it looks like he's wearing a backpack now, and like start wrapping around him and cover him in this like glowing purple body suit almost. And that is Mage Armor, which increases his AC, which I have been very concerned about, and I know some of you have as well. So his armor class, instead of a 13, is now 13 plus his dexterity modifier, which is 2. So now his armor class is 15. So he's like weakly stands up, and then he will use the rest of his movement, so 15 feet, to go into the middle of the room. And I will say, because he's had a long day, y'all. My page protected dry erase sheet back here, a lot of spells have been cast and a lot of resources. So like literally everyone's on kind of their last leg. They need to rest some. Did they rest? No, I don't think they rested. They rested in the Kenku warehouse. That's right. It was a short rest. Right? No, I don't think they did. I don't remember. So he casts Mage Armor, and then he goes back 15 feet. Oh, I can draw this. How about that? And he will go here. Then he will go to his left side of the room, because they're coming at it. So he will be up against the wall opposite of Toot Toot, but next to these. Oh, that's so good. This is my favorite part of D&Me, where I think of something and it's amazing that I don't plan. So he will go up halfway through the room, and then he will like kind of like fall up against the wall right north of the double doors that had been swung open by the Mind Flayer in the last episode that he ran through. And then Rock can look into the room and see the Mind Flayer, who is this kind of squid folk person, very tall, thin and lanky, purple, like a darker purple, tentacles, like rubbery skin all around. But the Mind Flayer has these 4 very thin and long tentacles on his face, but he's facing away from Rock right now at a podium in the middle of the room, and from in front of the Mind Flayer is this large black circle, opaque. It's just darkness and like black smoke, and then it's just feeding into this like black hole portal thing, which is very scary for Rock to see in his weakened state. But the mind flayer is not paying attention. That's very cool. I like it. Next, Onyx. So Onyx is kind of in the middle of the room, just by himself, in front of the human bandit corpse that he killed. Did he kill? No, I think there's two, like, he's unconscious, but I think he didn't like kill him yet. I reading the chat. Y'all are funny. It's very distracting. As in, I shouldn't read the chat, but y'all keep chatting, please. I love to read the chat afterwards. Like, that's my little dessert. My aperitif? That's appetizer. My little, like, after dinner mint of doing D&Me is reading everything in the chat. So please continue typing in the chat. We will get this 5 thing eventually. And if not today, we'll do it again and again and again and again and again. Onyx. Onyx's turn now. He's in the middle of the room. He sees Rock flee. He sees Rainier and Tipsy by the stone throne. Oh, this is neat. Great. Rock? Nope. Onyx. Onyx is going to rage because he has plenty of rages still. So he's going to rage, seeing just the turmoil, the up and down and up and down. I will lead you up and down of Rock coming in and out of consciousness, and the fear, and just everyone's beating up on everybody. So Rock saw Rainier kick the intellect devour behind the stone throne, and Rock goes, all right. And then, like, he just gets really angry, and you can see him kind of thrust his arms out, and you hear the of ice, just like a general, if you step on thin ice, and then you can hear that spidering across a lake, the top of a lake. You can just hear that. You don't see Onyx like turning into Iceman from X-Men, but you can just hear the general like ice energy, and he takes giant leaps and then kind of lurches himself forward, and then he shoulder checks the giant stone throne, which, like, I'll roll here for specifics in a second, but as soon as he collides with it, then it moves like just a foot and a half backwards, and like at an angle. And now let's do a strength check. Look at that beautiful number that I have right here. So Onyx has a +6 to athletics. He is proficient, and then he has advantage when raging. So I didn't plan that either, but like I didn't plan this, but the opportunity presented itself, and I love it. So D20s. So 5 was one of them, which is the same 5 that the Intellect Devourer rolled. But then the other one, what is that beautiful number? Is that a 2 and then a 0? So with a natural 20, Rock leaps, and then this giant stone throne like falls backwards, because you couldn't see the Intellect Devourer on one end or the other, so it must be directly behind. And then the stone throne, this otherworldly aberration noise, and this thing's gonna get hit with, I don't know how much a stone throne costs in damage points. Let's do because it's a stone throne, let's do 2D. I don't want to metagame it too much. I don't want to be like, yeah, he's great. So let's do 2d6, but since it's a natural 20, then we'll do 3d6. That sounds fair. I was going to do 8s, and I was like, nah, that's like me wanting it too much. I like those numbers. So that is a 4, 6, and a 2. So with a 12, and then you hear, and then you also hear like cracking of wood, which you wouldn't expect, and then some tink tink of just like of some glass clinking together. But the Mind Flayer now had 5 hit points, and with the damage resistance, then that's only 6 hit points. So, oh boy, Onyx is just getting trophies. So 6 stone thrown squishing damage. Good. I'm glad that they took care of this intellect devour so well, because, well, here, I'll tell you in a second. But so then the dust settles and everyone's just kind of standing on edge and listening intently, and they hear no further movements from behind the stone throne. Oh, okay, so after Onyx was the Mind Flayer, who's doing something right now. I'll get back to that. But it's Floon, who is currently behind a tapestry, and he fell down some hidden stairs and is now in a dark room. And then it was the Intellect Devourer's turn. And that Intellect Devourer has multi-attack, so it uses Claws, which downed Rock the last time, and then it has Devour Intellect. And there's not, like, great saving. You can't defend yourself from that, which... again, Devour Intellect is you do an intelligence saving throw of 12 and above. That is the save. If you fail with an 11 or lower, then your intellect gets down to 0. And I don't know how to fix that. Like, I could do a Greater Restoration or something. We could find a healer. My boys don't have Greater Restoration. There's Wish also, if it gets even worse. So, Oigavolt. So, then, okay, so the stone throne fell, and we're considered out of initiative right now. Because as soon as the heavy crashing sound, then Rock can see into the room with the Mind Flayer, and the Mind Flayer looks back, and its eyes, its white eyes are like wide, looking back. And it makes eye contact. Damn, this is good. Makes eye contact with Rock, and Rock is leaning up against the wall like he's very weak, and he makes eye contact again with this Mind Flayer, who, one of the last little moments at the end of the last episode was Rock turned Rainier invisible and then made eye contact with this Mind Flayer, who looked down at this foolish half-orc wizard. And then the Mind Flayer breaks eye contact and then grabs a stone, like a circular stone, from the top of this column. What's it called? Pedestal. There we go. This pedestal in the middle of the room, and then rushes into the black, inky, cloudy vortex and disappears. And there's silence in the room, and everyone's just going... And then Toot Toot breaks the silence with, "I am giving everyone a health potion right now. You, come here." And he points at Onyx, who is standing at the top of the throne. Like at the platform where the stone throne was. And then Onyx looks around. Huh? And then Toot Toot points at Tipsy. "You come here. You especially come here right now." He points at Rock, and Rock is... And then Rock launches himself a little off of the... pushes himself off of the wall and weakly walks towards Toot Toot. And then Toot Toot, I had written in my notes like 3 episodes ago that Toot Toot wanted to pass out health potions, but Lord have mercy. Okay, so he hands Rock the medium health potion. He will hand Tipsy and Onyx a small health potion each. So those are, because I write down small health potions, but that's potions of healing and then a greater potion of healing. That's the small and medium, respectively. And then each of them will take that, be forced to get them. And then Toot Toot turns around to see the human bandit with the bandaged bandit up in the corner, like on his butt, just curled up against the corner, and he'll go, "I will deal with you in a second. Ha! After this, can we all just do a long rest because I am exhausted? You are all exhausting." And he looks at Tipsy and Onyx with kind of, and then Rock like slowly nods, and then Onyx is like, because he doesn't like people telling him what to do. So he zoops around, and then he will walk behind the platform that the stone throne was on, and then he like very much when he was doing the toddler and smashing crates, then you see like not in focus in the background, you see the platform, and then you see Onyx, and then you see the stone throne, and then he chops it. Let's do another athletics because he's still raging. That's okay. That's 11 with the. That's nice. And then another natural 20. So you hear, and then just the stone throne upends over itself and then crashes into a corner. And he goes, "Ah!" And then he takes one of the small lion cub paws of the intellect devourer and kind of just flings it upward. Like he's still holding onto it, but he like presents it. And then technically he has the gazer, or he dropped it where he was standing or something, but he gathers the gazer and and then he's just back at the stone platform now, kind of doing the whose line is it anyway improv game where someone has to be lying down, someone has to be sitting, and someone has to be standing up. So he has these 3 items, which is the body of the intellect devourer, the body of the gazer, and a silver ingot. And he's kind of holding 2, and then he places one down and picks up the other one. And then he's just doing that little fun charade for a little bit, which is very funny. Then Tipsy's kind of just wide-eyed looking around and checking in on everyone. Rock, who wanders a little bit to the double doors and peeks, and then he can see this, again, this portal with black, opaque smoke curling in on itself, and then it just disappears, and Rock sighs deeply because he read in Volothamp's Guide to Monsters all about mind flayers. Victor hasn't. I want to make that clear. Victor hasn't, but Rock has. That's the trouble. That's the challenge of playing intellectual, like intelligence-driven characters, because they know stuff that my dumb character blank doesn't. So that's good. And then everyone in the chat's great. I just looked down and Peter said, "Bye, lover," or something. Oh, no. Sarah said that, which is even better. Are y'all picking at me because I said the thing that I'm definitely going to edit out? Yeah, it's fine. In the podcast. Oh, boy. Okay. Hold on. where was I? Intellect stuff that I don't. And then this podcast, I figure that the live stream is you get to see the art, the knit, and the grit right here, live, unfolding as it does, with all of the, oh, that's such a good idea, and oh no. And unfortunately, the 5 minutes of me going. But the podcast is going to be like, so the stream, the Twitch and YouTube stream is like a geode where it's very rough on the edges, and then you open it up and it's this beautiful story inside. And then the podcast is me like polishing the stone so like it's a river smooth stone or like a tumbled stone. So that's my little imagery for that. So Tipsy's looking around. You see Rainier next, who kind of stands up. Well, he's already standing, but he kind of brushes his front and looking around, and you can see the adrenaline starting to leave his system, and he goes, "Oh, Floon. Floon!" And then he starts walking over to, there are these two tapestries on Toot's side of the room. Two tapestries, well, he wouldn't know. So, there, okay, on Toot's side of the room, there's like another passage that we haven't talked about yet, and then two tapestries. And so these tapestries, well, Rainier will actually go over to the furthest another stone hall, where the bandaged bandit is kind of cowering in front of, and he goes, "Excuse me," and then kind of walks around him, and he looks into this room, which has light spilled in from the main room, and the room looks empty, but he is looking for Floon, so he will roll a perception check. And then Rainier, oh, well, that's better than the number that it says in the book. So Rainier with an 18 plus something, looks around and goes, Floon, are you here? And then also my OBS, which is the broadcasting thing, keeps saying that the picture is not great for the stream. So there might be bits where my picture's frozen, but when that happens, because it's a little red square instead of a nice little green square. So I'm sorry, but hopefully the audio is still coming through great, because sometimes when I rewatch these and I'm like, oh, well, the picture's not great, but the audio is always coming through. So I'm sorry, y'all, but thank you for still chugging along with me. So Rainier is looking through the room, and then what is a flagstone? One of my last names is Gladstone, but that's not the same. What is a flagstone, internet? Okay, so you see him. Well, no, you just hear Rainier poking around in this empty room, and Floon, are you here? And then you hear another stone scraping against stone. Up. Floon, are you down there? And then you hear, "No, I'm not," from behind one of the tapestries. But you hear Rainier in his room going, "Huh. Well," and then he steps out of the room into the big rectangular room. There seems to be another passageway if we want to explore that, but I say that we have Floon, and I'm ready to go. It's been quite an adventure, and again, it's been a couple days where I'm hungry, and he looks around at my very dirty party. We could all use with some bathing, if you don't mind me saying. And then Tipsy goes, "We all stink." And Rainier heard Floon, Rainier's looking around quizzically, and then Tipsy points at the tapestry that made the noise. And so then they go into that room. But then cut back to Rock. Rock, who is now staring just blankly into the room with the mind flare, who disapparated. And then he turns slowly back to the half-orc apprentice wizard, now lying face up on his back in the middle of the room, whose chest cavity had been eaten away by acid. And Rock goes towards him, and Tipsy sees Rock coming and, "Oh, are you going to loot the body?" Rock doesn't respond. But he bends down to start handling the burnt, crisp. You know when you burn like a piece of fabric with a match and then it has that black, like crusty bit on it? There's a lot of that going on in the front of this half-orc apprentice wizard's simple brown robes. And so then Rock is kind of trying to position the robes over the acid burn as much as he can, and it's covering up a little bit, but unfortunately it's very prominent still. And Tipsy sees Rock's silence and kind of steps back a little bit. And he'll go join Toot Toot with the Bandage Bandit. But Rock is straightening up the body, like straightening the head. Edwin from When Can We Play informed me that the lowering the eyelids to someone dead, that's not a real thing, because apparently they just pop back into place. So, yeah. I need to do my own research about that, because that will color how I see everything from now on. But imagine that kind of flavor going on right now. And Rock does check the pockets, but doesn't find anything of interest. So he's straightening all that up, and then he kind of finds himself falling backwards and just sitting crisscross applesauce in front, like next to this other half-orc apprentice wizard, the only other half-orc apprentice wizard he's ever met. He went to university and he didn't see anyone there, and he's kind of soaking in the silence of how just before he had a chance to even register that there was another half-orc wizard, then he was taken from him. And he's just staring at the corpse, knowing very well that as his body tumbled in the last episode, then 2 spellbooks spilled out. So Rock, the spellbooks are sitting right behind Rock. And there's this shock and this stunned, like, out of his control. But then there's always the thirst for knowledge and, like, an excitement that he's keeping down right now because he just wants to sit in this moment. And you can hear Onyx going, And then Rainier walks up the stairs. He kind of you see one of the tapestries pull aside, and from behind it, Rainier is helping a very frail, very thin Floon go up the stairs and into the main little room. And they look like brothers, but Rainier, they both have like red wavy blonde hair, but Rainier is like that Marvel body, like cut. And then Floon is very much like, oh, you have a good metabolism? Okay, sure. You can eat a whole pizza by yourself and you're going to still be like that thin that you were in high school. All right. Kind of body. I did not mean to body shame. My apologies. Floon is just very, very thin. How about that? That's good. So, that's going on. And cut over to Toot Toot and Tipsy. Toot Toot very purposefully. Stepping forward, towering over this human bandit who is bleeding, who prevented, like, the bleeding is stopping because he's putting pressure on it, but this human bandit with what you imagine could be no teeth inside the bandaged what's that thing called? What do hobos have with the stick and the little bag? Bindle? So it's kind of like the fabric and then that little tie bindle. And he's holding his side together and just staring petrified up at this Loxodon. And then from behind one of his legs, then a 2'10" Tipsy is kind of reading the room and looking up at Toot Toot, and then he crosses his arms. So, talk. And then the bandaged man is like, oh, right. You can't talk. I'm sorry about that. Technically, I didn't do it. Technically, you punched me in the head. In the face. Remember that? I mean, it didn't hurt a lot because it was just one hit point. But you know what? Emotionally, that's like a D6 of damage. So, imagine that, bub. And then, Tipsy kind of pokes the chest of the bandaged bandit. And the bandaged bandit is tall. I mean, average size. So he's maybe taller sitting down than Tipsy is standing up. But he is in zero position. So the bandaged bandit like recoils a little bit. And then a giant Loxodon hand comes down to Tipsy on his shoulder. So Tutu has to lean down a lot. And then he goes, now hold on, all right. You. What's your name? And then the bandaged bandit kind of looks exasperated up at him now, going, Can you talk? Okay. All right. Fine. Tutu gestures over to the room that Rainier was just in. Do you know where that secret passage goes? And then the bandaged bandit looks and then nods his head shakingly. Okay. Do the mind flayer. Do you know where he went? And then the bandaged bandit shakes, nods his head. Okay. I don't know. I'm very frustrated right now. And then you hear Onyx on the other side of the room going, hey, I found something. And then he... Just want to make sure I get everything. He pulls out from behind the stone throne this wooden chest, and the top of the chest is crushed inward, so some of the boards have broken in. And he goes, dude, well, hold on. And then he kind of wrenches with the last of his rage strength. He wrenches the chest open, and he goes, oh, well, dude, toot toot. Do you want these? And then he holds up two red glass vials with red swirling in them. You just gave me one. Do you want me to keep this one? And then Toot Toot from the other side of the room. What do you? Yep. You keep one and then give the other one to Rock. because he keeps dying. And then Tipsy goes, yeah! Kind of copying Toot Toot as he's gesticulating. And so I will write that down. Future Victor. Onyx gets one of the healing potions, and then Rock gets one of the healing potions. Two of the ones I mix up all the time. And then... then Onyx... Okay. Yep, so Onyx waddles over to Rock and then goes, here you go. And hands over one of the healing potions to Rock, and Rock takes a minute and he's still looking down. And then he looks up at Onyx with tears in his eyes and then just silently takes the healing potion and puts it in one of his pockets. And then Onyx, seeing the tears, goes, I'm sorry. But Onyx knows he didn't kill this one, so he will go back over to the chest because he saw some shiny things. And now being a little bit conspicuous, he's looking at the rest of the room, and everyone else is kind of dealing. Rock is dealing with the half-orc, Rainier is dealing with Floon, Tipsy and Toot Toot are dealing with the bandaged bandit, so Onyx, who came back to the chest because he saw something shiny at the bottom, takes the 16 gold, 82 silver pieces, and 250 copper pieces for himself. So Victor, add that into Future Victor. So with all of that, then Rainier... Oh. Well, no, it's fine. Rainier, helps Floon sit down, and Floon, very shakingly, goes, well, why do you think they got me? And why Rainier, do you think we got mugged? And then Rainier is looking at him and going, loud enough so that everyone in the room can hear it, but he goes, the Zentarim thinks that my father embezzled a large amount of gold while he was the Open Lord, and that he hid the dragons somewhere in the city. They think they can find it by using an artifact called the Stone of Glore, which was in the hands of the Xanathar Guild until recently, but apparently someone stole it. The Zens thought I knew something about all this, but I don't. My father and I haven't spoken in years, and I think after we exited the Skewer Dragon that night, then the Zents came and got us, and then took us to the warehouse, and then the Xanathar came in and wreaked havoc, and then he looks in Floon's face. They thought that you were me, and I think they took you, and for that. And then he kind of cups Floon's head in his hands and then does the forehead to forehead thing that they do in Lord of the Rings and whatever. And for that I am deeply sorry. I meant, and then he addresses back to the room, I meant for none of this to happen, but you are all good men. Thank you for helping me rescue Floon, and we will take you back to Volo. And then Floon goes, oh, okay, great. That's great. I heard a lot. And then you hear on the other side of the room Toot Toot going, well, I have no healing potion. Well, dang it, hold on. Well, I have no healing spells, so tough. Deal with it. And then he looks mightily down at the bandaged bandit, who's just, at this point, shaking. You have tried to hurt us multiple times. I'm sorry, we don't, mean to hurt you, but you're one of the bad guys. You realize that, right? And then the bandaged bandit nods his head. You punched dear old Tipsy in the face. Yeah. You shot at Tipsy again. Yeah, didn't you? Yeah. Don't stop shooting at me. Why me? And then the Bandaged Bandit kind of like is shakingly like raising his shoulders like, I don't know. And then Tutu goes, okay, I'm sorry. I just, there's so much has got. All right, I'm sorry. And then the Bandaged Bandit looks up very confused and kind of like does a dip of his head like, it's okay. Are you going to keep working with the Xanathar Guild? And then the Bandaged Bandit is looking because he is hearing that ellipses at the end and is waiting for another option, maybe? All right. I will take your your stillness as a response. I mean, I can't. You are a bad guy, though. But maybe. Ooh. And then he looks, and Toot looks down at Tipsy with these wild eyes, and then Tipsy, never having seen this look out of Toot before, is looking up, going, "Oh, what? I don't get it. What? Oh." You stay right there. And then he kind of bends down and grabs the back of Tipsy's shirt, or 80s ski jacket, and kind of like drags him past Rainier and Floon, past Rock, who's still in a stupor staring at the half-orc, and then to Onyx, who is putting the last of his 250 copper in his pocket, and Onyx looks up. Huh? What? I didn't do it. That was suspicious, but here. And so they're quietly whispering to each other. And then you hear Onyx, and then Tipsy, and then Toot straightening up because he was with the littles. Good. You. And then he goes back to the Bandaged Bandit. I do have no healing spells left, but Onyx gave me one of his healing potions. His name, and then he points to the dwarf, is Onyx. His name, the one you have shot twice and punched. His name, this gnome is Tipsy. He points over to the solemn half-orc. He is Rock, the purple. That is Rainier Neverember. I imagine you know him. Hastily nod. That is Floon Blagmar. I don't know him, but I know of him. He was our quarry. And I am Toot the Loxodon Bard. And you are going to be our mole. And then the bandit kind of is looking up wide-eyed, and then he's tilting his head a little bit, but you see like a quarter, like an eighth of a smile. We will heal you. We will pay you for information. You will be our eyes and ears, and this works out nicely. Not a mouth. For the inner workings of the Xanathar Guild. But you need to be so careful. You don't understand. The Bandaged Bandit nods ferociously. Okay. Good. Does anyone have... Can you write? And then the Bandaged Bandit nods. All right. Rock is having a moment. He looks down at Tipsy and says that. Tipsy, do you have... You have a million things in that backpack. Do you have something to write upon? And then they are looking. I'm sure. Oh my god. Yes. So, holy shit, that's hilarious. So Tipsy goes, yeah, I got some. And so he, like, puts down his backpack and then he's wrestling through. Like, he kind of puts his head and his shoulders and his arms in it, where it's not the backpack on the outside. Tipsy's going in deeper than what the backpack looks on the outside. And then you can hear, got it. And then an arm pokes out of the backpack holding like a pen. And then Tipsy comes out. All right, yeah, you can write it on the back of this. And then he hands over, and Toot Toot reads, is this a wanted poster of you? Yeah, but you can write on the back of it. What? You have a wanted poster of you? Yeah, but you can write on the back of it. And then Toot Toot sees words like larceny and gross misconduct, and he turns it over. He's like, wait, no, hold on. No, we're going to get into this right now. And I have to find my new notes. Let's see, wanted poster. Okay. Larceny, debauchery, theft, pillaging, fraud, gross indecency. That one I can know. Stole salted meats, 500 gold pieces. But what? Are you a bad guy too? And then he looks down at Tipsy. No! That was some other guy. And then Toot Toot is staring into the camera like, what the? And Tipsy goes, no, it was this other guy named Pillows McGurk, and then he was impersonating me. So I'm the victim. And then Tipsy looks over at the Bandaged Bandit for support, and then the Bandaged Bandit, like, his brow furrows and, like, nods. See? He's with me. So, hey, what's your name? And then Toot Toot, like, oh, what? Hands over the wanted poster to the Bandaged Bandit and goes, yes, write your name. Here's a pen. And then you see the Bandaged Bandit write down B-A-N. Ban the Bandaged Bandit. I couldn't get through it. Hold on, let me try again. Ban the Bandit. Oh, no. I'm going to do this. Hold on. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. It's maybe too funny. Okay. Ban the Bandaged Bandit. And then with a quick jerk of the head. Well, at least it's easy to remember. Now, Ban. What is in... What do we ask him? What is in that room? And then he looks over into the thing, and then Ban is hurriedly writing. And then Toot Toot reads a getaway passage. Oh. Where does it go to? A private cellar. Okay. That's good to know. That might be a good escape. Where did the mind flare go? And then it's writing back to the lair. Cool, great. Let's not go that way, huh? And then is there another exit out? We'll continue to explore. But you, Ban, the Bandaged Bandit, you and I will come up with a good arrangement to get information and keep you as safe as we can, even though you are a bad guy, but now you're working for good guys. So that's okay, I guess. Morally, he looks down at Tipsy. Tipsy shrugs. I'm not great at morally, but yeah. But morally, you are Ban. And then Tipsy, nope. And Toot Toot hands over a healing potion. Now you are one of the good guys. I'm sorry that I put my tusk in you. And then Ban slowly reaches out for the healing potion. And then he pops open the cork, and then he digs around in his pocket and brings up a metal straw and then puts it in the glass vial and then tucks the metal straw into his lips and Tipsy's watching. This is unpleasant. Because he reached the bottom. Great. Victor will come up with how that will work soon. That was completely unexpected. I didn't know what was going to happen with Ban. So, at this point, Rainier asks Floon, what was in that room behind the tapestries? And then Floon goes, man, it was just, it was straw pallets that lied on the floor and rusty manacles are bolted to the walls. So that's not pleasant. And then Rainier stands up and goes to the other tapestry and opens it up, and it's the same thing. So all my boys are getting together except for Rock. And they go, okay, do we go down the getaway passage and into the private cellar, or do we explore the rest of this? And then Tipsy goes, I'm a completionist. And Tipsy goes, nope. And Tutu goes, me too. And then Onyx, I love getting all of it. We are all in agreement that we will always search all of the rooms that we possibly can. Perfect. We will collect every loaf of bread, every cheese wheel, every cabbage, every shovel, every pot and pan, especially in that first level where you go underneath because you're running from the dragon. Skyrim reference, baby. Victor is a completionist. So, I love that now it is canon that my boys are as well. Well, dang, y'all, what do I want to do? Do I want to go? We'll make this quick. I don't have to take every single little bit of it. So they will go into the room that the Mind Flayer and then the great gassy portal. That's almost bad. Goes inside, and then so in that room, through the double doors, in the middle of this otherwise empty room is a stone pillar carved with a small symbol, a perfect circle with 10 equidistant spokes radiating outward from its circumference. In the middle of the circle is a smaller circle indentation that bears a passing resemblance to a lidless eye. And Rock is still staring, but for my audience, the Mind Flayer put this circular stone inside the top of the pillar, and then the thing opened up, and then he took it out and then ran inside. And then after a minute, then the portal disappears. So they go in there. They look around a little bit. There's some more sleeping quarters, which are the straw pallets that lie on the floor, and rusty manacles are bolted to the walls. They see also 2 more rooms here that branch out from it. One, they see a dead goblin with... What killed this goblin? Does anyone remember? Okay, the arrow was Tipsy, so I think this one has Rainier's dagger near it. I think he threw it to no avail. So they pick up a dagger to give back to Rainier, because I'm not going to write it on one of their inventory sheets. Tipsy picks the pocket of that goblin because he found some copper in the last one. So this one will have 2 copper pieces. And then he picks the pocket and then looks up at Toot. Yeah, he has 1 copper, and then he's looking the other copper at Toot and at Onyx and at Toot and at Onyx. Here you go. And then he flips the coin in the air, and then Tutu's like, I have plenty of money. And then you see Onyx and then just scour for it. So Onyx gets the second copper, and then they go back in the room. And then they do find, since they're all looking all over the place, I will roll for it. But, oh yeah, that's a natural 20. And a 19 and a 16. So, one of them super finds. Tipsy goes, "Hey, look! This says secret door on it." And then this secret door, they kind of push it out. And then they hear the steady stream of sludge outside, and this connects back into that sewerway that to the like across the way is the stone ledge that they were all sitting on before they actually went into the Xanathar Guild Hideout, and then south, then that is where they met the were-rats. So they all figure that out, and then they go back into the room. And then they ask Ban, "So the private cellar, tell us a little bit more about that." And then Ban writes, with Foley. Hold on. He writes, "I've never been there. It's always a last resort. Halflings." And then Tipsy goes, "Halflings? I think we should go in there." And then they go, "Whoa, okay, I think we're ready to skedaddle, but let's let Rock finish up his thing." And then to Rock, who this whole time has heard people going around him, the general chatter, but he knows, he recognizes that it was happening around him, but he didn't hear any of the words. He wasn't listening. He was just and he's very sad, and it's been a very long day, and he's just sitting there cross-legged, staring at the pale green flesh of this orc. And then he looks down at the back of his hands, which is this pale heliotrope, this purple. And he's looking, and he has some minor illusion shit, huh? Let's see. With his improved minor illusion, then he kind of is just playing around with creating different little figurines of people that he's met in this very hectic last evening and then this whole today. And he's making these little figurines in various poses that highlight the adventures so far of like Toot tall and proud, Tipsy almost like hunched over like a miserly gesture, Rock, Onyx, who is like holding up dead bodies of a whole bunch of stuff, and then Rainier, who's very superhero Captain America, standing in a position, and then Floon, who looks like a thin doofus, but then also like Ogslob, who looks like a greedy dark gnome, and then Volothamp, who the lighting on Volothamp is very like dark and ominous. So like he's backlit and you can't really see his face all that well. But then like Durnan and Yagra and the troll and Shipping and Handling, the little kobolds. But the ones that he keeps going back to the most are himself, and then Yagra Stonefist, so a pale turquoise, and then this, and the other ones are kind of caricature-ish, but then whenever he presents this other half-orc apprentice wizard, then it's very lifelike, with the cavity eaten out of his chest. Kind of like floating in the air with his prostrate, is that? I don't think that's the right word. But his arms like loftily out to the side. And he's trying to remember every detail about this half-orc. And then after a while of that, then his fingers sparkle with magic and they're canceling out. And then he turns around, and then he reaches for the 2 spell books, and he brings them closer, and they're both thickly volumes, like pretty thick, like the typical Skyrim books that you find, like brown leather on top, and the yellowed manila paper in the inside. And then he starts flipping through one, and he catches his breath a little bit, because in one of the spell books, it's just blank pages all the way through up until the end. And he stares at this one in disbelief, and his eyes tear up again. And then he looks to the other one, and inside the first couple pages talks about Grumshar, who, this is the orc's name. And the first 3 pages are personal details about Grumshar and kind of a little mini biography. And then he flips through a couple more pages, and 6 or 7 or 8 of them are filled with some similar spells that he already knows. A couple that he caught his breath earlier, but this, an excitement, a fresh breath of excitement. But then after those 11 pages, then the rest of them are all blank too. And mechanics-wise, Grumshar was a half-orc apprentice wizard level 1. But to see the blank page is a scary thing, because you could put anything on there, and there's infinite amount of possibilities, and it's both thrilling and haunting, because the hardest mark to make is the first one. And Rock, mulling over the loss of potential, the robbed future, and the fact that he was very lucky that 3 times today he rose from the dead. He was resurrected. It's a very heavy burden for our half-orc wizard. And after a while, then he carefully puts these spellbooks in his pockets. It disappears into his inventory, and he stands up. Do we leave the body here? Or do we take it with us? Or do we... I am unfamiliar with how we proceed. Do we leave it here so that other Xanathar Guild members can come in and go, oh, there is an attack? Or do we lay him to rest out in the sewage? Or do we try and take him up to the surface? And at this, my other boys are just talking bullshit and doing some other cool Victor B-roll on the other end of the hall, the room. And then they look up, and Toot Toot, who Onyx got a glimpse of it, but then Toot Toot is really putting it all together, going, oh, whatever you prefer, Rock. We are fine, Ban. And then Ban looks like, what? What? It would be pretty suspicious if they come back and then 2 dead goblins and then the body of this half-orc. And then he flashes eye contact at Rock and then looks down. Right? Like, that's a bad thing, huh? And then Ban nods. Yeah. Should we do something with the goblin bodies too? But well, why would we ever come back? Also, Ban, what? You can lie for us, right? Good. And technically, you won't be lying with your mouth, so that's fine. But what do we do with these bodies? I don't know. We would never come back, right? And then Tipsy kind of wrings his hands a little bit. Well, I mean, there's other stuff down here that we didn't look through all the tunnels, and then we could let's put the bodies in the sewage, and then they all float down here. Float away. All of our problems float away, huh? Is that okay? And then all my boys kind of shrug because Victor doesn't know how to dispose of bodies. So they start with the goblins. Like, Rock insists on taking Grumshar's body, but then they divvy out, and Rainier and Floon help with taking the goblin bodies, and then kind of, would they float? I don't fucking know. And then Toot Toot gasps, Ban. Ban, when we encountered you in... Oh, boy. I'm sure the other human bandit gentleman had a name, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to find out this episode, so... When we came in, you were up against the door, keeping something out. What was it? Write it down. And then you hear... Gray ooze? Does anyone know what gray ooze is? And then, Ban, write a sentence summary. Dissolves. Bodies, probably, period. Poop, question mark? Well, I don't... Ban, come on. This is a serious matter. And so then... So, we were stuffing everything with mattresses, huh? So, if we take out those mattresses, then throw in the goblin bodies... That's what... There were two goblins that went in there previously, and there were melting sounds, huh? And then Ban morbidly nods his head. Rock. His spirit has left his body, but his form, his corporeal form, doesn't need to suffer here anymore. I think this might be one of the easiest, safest ways to cover our tracks. And then Rock understands. And then in that torched room, then everyone takes the mattresses away and then opens the door to... This is cool because I didn't think I'd go back to this. The lavatory, where indeed there were some benches. There were like 3 benches, like in this little small room. There's a bench here, and then a bench across the way. And then each of them have a hole drilled, like not drilled, but like cut out of them. And then about 10 feet below, is 10 feet good? Let me look up Great Ooze real quick. Because if this fucking Gray Ooze moves 10 feet... Well, okay, how about this? So, I do want to look up its speed, though. Okay, the Gray Ooze can climb 10 feet, and that's its speed. So, after a long while, then the Gray... Like, they open the door, and then they stare down, and some of the bench is, like, sticky, and just kind of dripping down. In the last episode, I wanted to play Toxic Love from Fern Gully, sung by Tim Curry here, because it's very much like, if you imagine Grey Ooze, Toxic Love, which was horrifying as a kid watching that movie. Like, Robin Williams is great, and there was a cute pixie or fairy, but boy, that like, and I watched it again, like, he summons skeletons and like he eats his own, yeah. So the Tim Curry smog, pollution's bad, y'all, stuff. So Toxic Love is playing. I'll put that on Toot Toot's ongoing Spotify playlist. And sorry, I want to check out something real quick. Lovely. So, Toxic Love is playing in the background, and they look down, and like the floor had been eaten away and corroded. You can still see some steam rising from the remnants of planks underneath these benches, but down deep down, they take one of the torches and like hold it over, and they see this black pitch tar slowly rising up, and they can see the sheen from the torch light down like 20 feet down, and they see as it's rolling upward, then like an arm comes up, like a skeletal arm, and then it dips back down, and then like a sword that floats to the surface, and as it turns over, then you can see it pitted and like being eaten away, because it corrodes metal. Any non-magical weapon made of metal that hits the ooze corrodes. After dealing... Here's a cool thing about Grey Ooze. After dealing damage, the weapon takes a permanent and cumulative -1 penalty to damage rolls. If the penalty drops to -5, the weapon is destroyed. Non-magical ammunition made of metal that hits the ooze is destroyed after dealing damage. So as it's rolling upwards, bubbling upwards, then you can see like a goblin skeletal arm come up, and then the sword, and then and they drop one of the goblin bodies, two, and as the bodies sink, like the tar is eating these bodies away, and like it's releasing this heat that just wafts upward and doesn't smell good, so everyone kind of and then Rock asks Rainier and Onyx to help lower Grumshar down into the pit, and they've made it so that his arms are like this. So then they gently feed the body to the Grey Ooze, and the Grey Ooze is rising at this point, so it's 10 feet away, and then they let go, and the body and bobs a little bit, but then like starts sinking with some speed, and then you hear Ban going and then it is rising up quickly. Rock, if you could please step back. And then they close the door, and then they put up all the mattresses again. The Grey Ooze, damage resistance, acid, cold, and fire. Condition immunity, so this means the Grey Ooze cannot be blinded, charmed, deafened, exhausted, frightened, and prone. So, just a cool little thing. And amorphous is one of its traits. The ooze can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide without squeezing. So, that's a very good body disposal, Victor. Man, a whole bunch of discoveries and unexpected twists and turns and cool stuff. So, as they are all leaving, heading towards the getaway passage to the private cellar, then Tipsy... Well, as they were getting the goblins, I guess. Then Tipsy looks down the initial like T intersection where the sewage is flowing south, and he saw those two eyes a couple episodes ago. So he is looking down that passage and listening a little bit. Let's see if he can hear anything. 5. Nope. So he's just listening, and he can hear the gentle flow of sewage, but it's a foot. They all stinky boys. So he looks down that passage and then catches up with the rest, and then everyone kind of trudges into this very small room. It's 10 by 10, and Rainier, who found the flagstone, moves it, and then they see this little tunnel, and they one by one go through. They're doing it in marching order, by height. So Tipsy, Onyx, Rainier. So Onyx is kind of holding, like, is preparing Floon, who's in the middle and is kind of being helped. Oh. So, okay. So Tipsy, Onyx helping Floon, and then Floon being helped by Rainier, and then Rock, and then Toot Toot is the last one to go, and then he's leaving Ban in Q7 and going, Ban, we will meet tomorrow morning. How about tomorrow morning? And then we will discuss how we can be of help to each other. And then Ban nods once, and then as Toot Toot turns around and goes into the passage, then you see Ban just like his mouth is closed, but I wanted to give you that sound. And then he wipes his brow and is thanking his lucky stars. So we'll see what comes out of that. That's amazing. So I still have Flagstone pulled up on my computer. I don't need to know what a flagstone is anymore. Okay. So Onyx is... Oh boy. Onyx, you and your gosh darn Gazer and Intellect Devourer and Silver Ingot and helping out Floon. Whatever. We will eventually... He has those all floating around. Maybe Tipsy... Yeah, Tipsy's like, give me one of those. And then... as they're going through the passage, then Onyx hands over the Intellect Devourer. No, I want the other one. And so then Onyx hands over the Gazer. He's like, I like the Gazer. Yeah, well, let me hold it for you so that you can ask Rainier to hold the other silver ingot. Hey, Rainier, can you hold this for me as I help Floon? And then Rainier's, yeah, of course I can do that. So now Rainier has 2 silver ingots, but then with one arm, it's kind of helping. Oh, it's very much like Prisoner of Azkaban, where they're helping like Ron through the passageway underneath the Whomping Willow. Kind of that train going on. So Tipsy's out in front, like a train, also like just with the Gazer, who's a giant X over its eye, and then 4 X's over its 4 eye stalks, and then and then they're going through the tunnel. And then they come out into this cellar, yes, but there's like kind of a neat little barrel setup where it's 4 or 5 barrels and some metal pipes leading from one to another, and then like an intricate setup going on. But then also just a bunch of boxes and like piles of clothes and stuff and like a wash bin. And then Tipsy, first one going through, goes, "This is interesting. Okay. And then he kind of, like, as more people pile into this small cellar, he's like, okay, well, everyone, let's listen. And then Toot Toot, who's in the back, who has keen hearing, he will roll for perception just to hear. Oh boy, that's a 2 and a 6. Perception plus 3. So a 9 is the best, and he goes, I don't hear anything, so I think the coast is clear. And then Tipsy goes, all right. And so he goes up and he goes, Oh, this is a small door. And then he opens it, and then you can hear, yeah, hello. Oh, what is going on? And then some various screams and Tipsy going, no, it's okay. And then everybody, and so everyone kind of piles into like this short, ceilinged, like family room, like a living room, and then there's a family of halflings. They're kind of staring, like they're plump and rosy cheeked, and they're all sitting down on couches, but they're all kind of like climbing over the backs of like we don't want any bad things happening to us. We don't want to. Oh God, Lord, the smell is. What? Who are you? What do you want? And then it's kind of no, it's okay. We are the good guys. My name is Tipsy. This is don't look at that. He throws the gazer away, like just down, and then Onyx follows it. Oh. We're good guys. We just went through a hell of a thing. Wait, hold on. Are you part of the Xanathar Guild? And then they're what? No, they're awful people. No. Then why do you have a passageway to their hideout? We what? Yeah, downstairs. What? This is the first time I'm hearing about it. That's awful. Do you mind if you show me? Of course not. Excuse the dwarf, and then the two humans, and then the half-orc wizard. He's going through a lot. So, and then, big boy. And then they're all kind of just sidestepping, and Toot Toot's bending over because there's a very small ceiling. And then you can hear, oh, what? That's new. And so after a while, then they're talking, and then this is a family. They introduce themselves as the Peabodys. Yes, we're a halfling family. We use that cellar to we do a little bit of home brewing where we can make up our own stuff and beers. And would you like some? And then Tipsy, wow, Tutu's, can we just? You have plenty to drink. Could we just go home and bathe? Oh, yes. No, you all smell terrible. But after a while, then they talk it out, and they are, well, let me roll for it. Let me not just saying stuff. Great. With a 16 and a 19 plus insight, then the Peabodys are completely caught unaware. They didn't know that this, like, it was like a stone that moved right at the entranceway. But they have no connections with the Xanathar Guild. Like, they've never seen anyone come out of there before, but they promise that they will seal that up and make sure that no one can get through the passages. And then, politely, the Peabodys, so the nearest bathhouses are actually out that way, and then you turn left and turn right. And then, Toot Toot, exhausted, goes, you know what? We are just going to go back to the yawning portal. Oh, that's a fine establishment. That's a wee bit far away, though. Thanks for coming all this way to visit us. It's always good to meet good people. Oh, you look a wee bit peckish, though. And then they look over to Floon, who's still blinking red in my game mechanics that he has 1 hit point left. And then, oh, let me feed you here. Here you go, dearie. And then the wife of the Peabodys, like, brings him food, and that knocks his health back up. But you do smell absolutely rank. You are more than welcome to come back here after you smell better, if you don't mind me saying. And then Tutu goes, oh no, you are completely, I understand. I dipped into it. I understand. Let us go, and then thank you very much for your hospitality and understanding. A lovely home you have here. We will, sorry about all the marks we're leaving. And then, oh no, it's fine. I'll take care of it as soon as you leave. No, I appreciate you. Okay, well, come back again. It's nice meeting you. If you need anything, let us know. I want some of that homebrew, whatever you come up with. Oh, I'll let you know when we finish our batch. Oh yeah. And so then they leave the Peabody's house, and then, okay, cool. So then they leave, and then outside, since they spent a couple hours, well, they spent like an hour and then like a couple hours. So let's say it's just, well, it's also winter. I forgot about that. Oh, I can do this. Instead of poopy sewers, we have, nope, snowy street day. But it's evening now. Like, it's just starting to get dark and a little bit colder, and the snow's whipping up. And Floon he doesn't have a lot of winter wear. So they are, like, hurrying up, but they are quite far away from the yawning portal. They're, like, maybe 50 blocks or something. So they ask directions and get their bearings and then head northward towards the yawning portal. And then I have written down, Rainier has silver ingot, so I won't forget. But I will do the, like, denouement for episode 10. So that's where we're going to end tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. This was... these episodes are necessary to, like, kind of tie up loose ends and stuff. I enjoy it. I didn't see that thing with ban happening. Like, my boys aren't gonna, like, straight up I mean, they do straight up murder people, but if they deserve it. So thank you so much. Oh, Spencer subscribed with Prime account. Thank you so much. Holy cow. I believe that is my second subscription. Unless stuff happened. Wow, y'all talked a lot in the chat. That's amazing. Thank you. I will love to read all of that here at the end. But thank you so much for watching D&Me. I am Victor Rivera, and this is D&Me, where I play Dungeons and Dragons by myself. Follow me at all my D&Medias, which you can find all lumped together at Linktree. So it's Linktree /DnMeAdventures. So N like gnome instead of the ampersand. And you can find all my links there. So all my D&Medias. I stream every Wednesday on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 pretty much. It's pretty much a 2-hour show. And then I will throw this up tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, on YouTube. And you can see all the videos there. I try and archive all the videos on Twitch also, but I think YouTube's a little bit easier. Great. Thank you. Today's show will be up tomorrow, Thursday, September 30th, and next week's episode will be live Wednesday, October 6th. It's October, y'all! 2021. It's still March 2020 in my head. So, all right. I like this a lot, and we'll see if it stays. But I roll to see which of my characters at the end of the night gives tonight's outro. So I will do instead of my normal 4, I will do Tipsy's 1, Onyx 2, Rock is 3, Tutu is 4, Ban is 5, and Mr. Peabody is 6. 5. So Ban gives tonight's outro.